When we ask a number of questions to our brothers and sisters who convert to Islam, they tell us that they found profound and positive impact in their lives, helping them to overcome personal struggles and finding new direction. These individuals tell us that they find meaning and their identity in their Islamic faith, often citing its spiritual teachings, sense of community, as well as historical connections to Africa and African American experiences as they go on and are motivated to go on in their life after their conversion. We need to say, these guys, I don't know what they are thinking, because they are not serious when they say that. Subscribe to our channel, Hamid Iburu Ethics. Like our videos. You can also enroll into our Bantu University courses and study not to be deceived as these brothers and sisters that convert to a religion that is destructive, their own nature and their own spirituality. Here is the topic that we want to discuss: what they forget when they convert to Islam. Here are a number of things quickly that they forget. They forget that Islam is destructive to African peoples through slavery. They also forget that Islam was the first to enslave melanin-dominant human beings and still today holds melanin-dominant human beings in a secondary state, as secondary citizens, no matter what their pretense is. Islam is also destructive in our history because they took over our lands and they are quiet about it. The so-called Middle East never existed because the Middle East was created by Europeans for them, and all their wealth that they boast of, the oil that they have and the lands that they have, is ours as melanin dominant human beings, have been forgotten in the reparation strive and drive because the Arab slave trade is still plaguing us and is still affecting us all over the shore. We want to say, when Islam arrived in Africa, it marked the beginning of a long and tragic history of colonization, enslavement, and cultural erasure for African peoples, from the initial Arab invasion of North Africa to the modern day activities of groups that are fighting. They are leaving an indelible mark and destructive mark on the continent. There is a lot of activities that we can point out to today. Those that convert to Islam forget a lot of other things. They forget the Arab conquest of North Africa in the 7th century that laid the foundation for centuries of Islamic domination and exploitation. The indigenous people and populations were subjected to forced religious conversion through what is known as Arabization and cultural erasure. Arabization is a process that incessantly drives an individual to ditch their own culture and assimilate into a Muslim, to become a Muslim. And then they become an Arab. The term applies not only to cultures, but also to individuals where either directly they adopt or become strongly influenced by the Arabic language, the Arabic culture, literature, art, music, and ethnic identity. So they ditch their Africanness and they become an Arab. This is what happened because they wanted to play around and say, no, they just came and preached nicely and so forth. But in their own Quran, they teach that they should fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day and who do not consider unlawful what Allah and his messenger has considered unlawful, and who do not adopt the religion of truth for those who were given the scripture. Fight until they give the jizya willingly while they are humbled. This is found in their book. So as they forget, our brothers and sisters, that they have been Arabized, they think that they have now adopted or found something that is worthy or something that is good or something that is holy and something that is righteous. Very prominent people indeed have been deceived by thinking that they have found Allah, who is God and his culture and his way of life. Yet Allah is El, the God El, the Canaanite God of the Canaanite pantheon. There it is clear. You can do your studies, you can do your researches, you will find that. So once they know this, they forget and they do not revere their ancestors. They do not continue with their names. They change their names and they start to worship this Allah or El. This word Allah is thought to have been derived by contraction from Al-Ilah, which means the God, and is linguistically related to the Aramaic words Elah and Syriac Allah and the Hebrew word El. That's why they are all worshipping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Allah allowed slavery. You read Quran 33:50. The Islamic slave trade was sanctioned by verses in the Quran, like the verse we have just read, which allows Muslims and Muslim men to take captive women as slaves, led to the enslavement and castration of millions of melanin-dominant males and children. And slave trade, Arabic slave trade particularly, was very brutal, and an estimated number, millions and millions of number of people were taken into slavery and lost their lives. It is said that Islam is unapologetic by what it has done, despite the immense suffering and the destruction caused by Islam in Africa. There has never been a formal apology or offer of reparations from Islamic institutions or governments. The Arab League, in particular, has failed to acknowledge or address the historical and ongoing injustices faced by African peoples under Islamic rule. The brutal killings of African slaves, the destruction of African spirit, and the attempted assimilation forces that forced a lot of our brothers and sisters to die is not going to be forgotten. But our brothers and sisters that convert to Islam easily forget that. And they do not care about Arabic slave trade and the role of Islam in African slavery or the millions that perished. They continue to convert. Even today, they do not condemn the slave trade that is occurring and that occurs in many parts of the world. In the guise of them being followers, they are quiet. But they are quick, so fast to condemn the transatlantic slave trade that uprooted millions. They are quick to forget all these forms of slavery in the Sahara and the Red Sea region. They're quick to forget about it. What's the problem? What's happening there? Those who convert to Islam, they quickly forget that Islam is destructive on African people's culture, spirituality, and life. Despite all that, what Islam has done to us, they are not even stopping today. They continue to fight to take the whole of Africa. They finance, they arm, they send Islamic insurgents, groups, and other individuals to continue to destabilize the whole of Africa. Boko Haram in Nigeria, Chad, Niger, and Cameroon continues to fight and to destroy those that don't follow it. Even those that follow it, it doesn't care. Al-Shabaab in Kenya, in Uganda, in Somalia, same story. Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, same story. The violent events linked to the Sahel, same story. But our brothers and sisters continue to pray, and maybe they are hoping that these insurgencies may eventually convert the whole of Africa. Ansaru in Nigeria, the Islamic State West Africa province, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Ansar al-Sharia in Libya and Tunisia. Janjaweed Arab militia active in the Sudan, particularly in the Darfur region. These are all destructive. But our brothers and sisters continue to pray that these will win. These groups who employ various tactics, including terrorism, guerrilla warfare, as well as sectarian violence, killing, destroying, all these agendas are meant to destabilize African governments and societies. Even Al-Shabaab in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and south of Ruvuma, they continue, and the Comoros, they continue to fight and to destroy and to destabilize Africa. But our brothers and sisters continue to convert. It is said that they forget all these evils that their religion that they are converting to has done. In conclusion, the destructive impact of Islam on African peoples is a historical reality that cannot be ignored. From colonization and enslavement to cultural erasure and political domination, Islam has left a legacy of suffering, oppression, duplicity, deception that continues to this day. They come with trinkets, they come with little food, they bribe our politicians, and they continue to affect and to destabilize African societies. Whether they do it politely or what, they still are destructive. Like what Dr. John Henry Clark said here. The role of religions in the domination and destruction of African civilization was ruthless. Islam was as guilty as all the rest. It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter how they speak their nationalism, how they speak about black nationalism, like Malcolm X, like Farrakhan, like anybody, their religion is as guilty as Christianity, as Judaism, in the destruction of African civilization and black civilization. And the duplicity that they, and the sellouts, the spirit of a sellout, like what Tipo Tip, is the same spirit that black Muslims carry. Their complicity in Islamic crimes against humanity. Same as Tipo, who was an ivory and slave trader, an explorer, and became a governor, and worked to continue to subjugate and to sell melanin-dominant human beings all over the earth. What they forget as they convert into Islam is the genocide, the torture, and the worst form of evil that any humanity, any human being, any society has ever faced. They forget that their ancestors were converted under the sword, and that still today they practice this form of conversion, of course with a deceptive smile and a very fake brotherhood. The history of Arab slave trade must be known. They are also forgetting that they are falling into a deceptive spiritual experience where they are told that they should burn and throw away their idols, while it's Christianity, just like Islam, has an idol known as the Kaaba, which a lot of our brothers and sisters visit, thinking that this is something different. It's an idol that has never changed. They forget that slavery caused them to ditch their power, caused them to become spiritual slaves. In West Africa, for instance, in the 18th and 19th centuries, there was a caliphate known as the Sokoto Caliphate that waged wars of religious conversion and political domination. These conflicts resulted in the forced Islamization of African societies and the destruction of indigenous cultures and the imposition of Sharia law. And they forget that. And they simply convert, thinking that now they found something that is truth. It's not our spirituality by any stretch of imagination. While Hamid is known to have influenced a lot of other religions, the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, anything that you can name was influenced by Hamid. But Islam is not a natural African religion. We have our own mystic system and our own war fetish protection system. We have the best. You can find it and find the sources and study these sources at Bantu Foundation University when you enroll to study Bantu Foundations. Till we meet again, let us not forget that we have the best which can empower us today. It will beat the rest, and many people have witnessed this. Okay, thank you very much for watching up to this point. If you are interested, you can send us an email on john@marifado.com. Till we meet again, your manager to Preacher Rabbi LM Duzulu Konikarim Jaganja says yes, we can win, and yes, we can win this war again. Amen.